There's something deeply powerful about moving in silence. In a world that's addicted to sharing, where every goal, every ambition, and every small step is broadcast for validation, those who keep their heads down and focus quietly stand apart. Real strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't crave applause. It simply moves relentlessly, quietly, effectively. When you announce your plans to the world, you invite the noise. Suddenly, everyone has an opinion. Some may support you, but many will doubt you. Some will criticize, others will imitate or even sabotage. The moment you speak too soon, you open the door to distractions, judgment, and resistance, not from yourself, but from others. The more you talk, the less you do. Words become a substitute for progress. The dopamine rush of admiration tricks your brain into thinking you're achieving something, even when you're still standing at the start line. But when you work in silence, you deny the world that chance. You conserve your energy. You cultivate something sacred, momentum. You don't waste time explaining. You're too busy doing. You're not chasing praise. You're chasing growth. Your actions become your language. Your results, your announcement. It's not secrecy out of fear. It's discipline born from wisdom. One of the most powerful examples of this philosophy is the life of Nelson Mandela. During his 27 years in prison, the world didn't hear from him. He wasn't on stages delivering fiery speeches. He wasn't tweeting or posting, but in that silence, he was building strength, building clarity, building vision. And when the time came, his emergence wasn't noise. It was a thunderclap. His quiet years became the foundation for a revolution. He changed the world, not by announcing his plans in prison, but by emerging prepared, focused, and unstoppable. Working in silence doesn't mean you don't dream big. It means you protect those dreams from premature exposure. Think of your goal like a seed. If you dig it up every day to show others, it will never grow. It needs time in the dark. It needs quiet. It needs commitment. Talking about your goals is easy. Living them in silence, day after day, when no one's watching, that's hard. But that's where transformation happens. There's an old saying, lions don't need to roar to prove they are lions. Your success should speak for itself. People should be surprised by what you've built, not tired from hearing about what you plan to build. When you show, not tell, that's when the world takes notice. And more importantly, that's when you respect your own journey. Consider how many people you know who constantly talk about what they're going to do, the book they'll write, the business they'll start, the changes they'll make. Months pass, years, and nothing happens. Why? Because their energy was spent in the telling, not the doing. They traded progress for perception. But the quiet workers, the ones who don't need to talk, they move mountains while the world sleeps. In silence, you master consistency. You remove the spotlight and with it the pressure. You make mistakes without shame. You grow without noise. And when you arrive, it's not with a whisper. It's with undeniable presence. People won't ask what you're doing anymore. They'll ask how you did it. That's the power of quiet work. Think about the legends. Think about the people who changed the course of history. The real icons. They were often quiet in their process. They weren't giving daily updates or looking for likes. They were obsessed with their mission, not with attention. And when their work emerged, the world was moved. Working in silence is not just a strategy. It's a mindset. A declaration that you value progress over popularity, discipline over display. It's a choice to rise above the noise, to do the hard work without the applause, and to walk your path without seeking a crowd. Because greatness doesn't need permission, and it certainly doesn't need an audience in the beginning. So if you're working on something, protect it. Nurture it in the shadows. Let it breathe. Let it grow. Let your actions whisper so loudly that the world can't help but hear. We live in a time where visibility is often mistaken for value. If you're not posting about your journey, people assume you're not making progress. But that's the beauty of silence. You get to redefine success on your terms, free from expectations, free from timelines, free from pressure to impress anyone. You get to build without interruption. There's tremendous freedom in not being watched. You can fail quietly. You can experiment. You can iterate. You can evolve. And when the world finally sees what you've built, it won't be a half-finished idea. It will be solid, real, proven. Working in silence is a way to ensure that when you finally step into the light, you're not showing off potential. You're revealing results. Take, for example, J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before the world knew her name, she was a single mother living on welfare, writing in cafes while her baby slept beside her. No one knew what she was working on. She didn't announce to the world that she was going to change children's literature forever. She simply wrote, quietly, relentlessly, and when her work finally emerged, it didn't need promotion. It was so good, so real, that the world couldn't ignore it. That's the power of doing the work before seeking the spotlight. Rowling didn't need to convince people she was a writer. Her work did that for her, and that's true across every field. Whether you're an entrepreneur, artist, athlete, or student, your process deserves protection. The early stages are fragile. Sharing them too early can expose them to criticism, comparison, or worse, complacency. Because once you feel praise for just trying, you may lose the hunger to succeed. The silence is not a cage. It's a cocoon. It's where you transform. The world sees the butterfly and praises its beauty, but no one witnesses the lonely, painful metamorphosis that happen in the dark. That's where the real work is done. That's where you earn your wings. When you work in silence, you become unstoppable. Why? Because you're not driven by applause. You don't need validation to continue. You don't stop when no one's watching. That kind of inner drive is rare and powerful. It's the foundation of long-term success. Fame fades, praise quiets, but self-mastery stays. Most people can start with energy when they know others are watching. But it's the quiet moments, the invisible battles, the unrewarded days, those are what shape you. That's when character is formed. That's when you grow. Not when everyone is cheering you on, but when no one even knows what you're fighting for. There's also strategy in silence. When people don't know your plans, they can't prepare for them. They can't steal your ideas, copy your path, or block your moves. You gain the element of surprise. You create space to operate on your own terms. While others are broadcasting, you're building. While they're distracted by optics, you're focused on outcomes. Many great minds understood this. One of the most legendary examples is Elon Musk. Today, he's one of the most famous figures on the planet, the face of SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, and more. But his journey didn't start with loud declarations or grandstanding. In the 1990s, long before Twitter followers and magazine covers, Elon was quietly building, first Zip2, then X.com, which became PayPal. He lived in a small rented office, slept on the couch, and worked around the clock. No spotlight. No cameras, just raw hustle and relentless belief. He didn't shout his plans from rooftops. He built them brick by brick. Behind the scenes, by the time the world truly started paying attention, he had already laid a foundation strong enough to launch rockets and revolutionize electric cars. Musk's early silence was his greatest asset. He wasn't looking for attention. He was chasing execution. Today, even though he's more vocal and visible, the lesson remains clear. The most important chapters of his story were written in private through silent, focused work. Silence is not weakness. It's intentional power. It shows that you don't need to prove anything until it's time. You don't talk to impress. You act to progress. And that alone separates you from the majority. Working in silence teaches you patience. In a world addicted to instant gratification, Patience is a superpower. You stop chasing shortcuts. You start respecting the process. You begin to see time not as a barrier, but as a teacher. Because good things take time. Great things take even more. And legendary things? They're forged in silence, pressure, and time. Remember, the world is noisy, full of opinions, full of distractions, full of promises that never materialize. Let others chase the crowd. Let others seek approval. You stay focused. You keep building. You let your success be your volume. When others ask, "Where have you been?" your results will answer for you. When they wonder how you achieve so much, they won't understand that it was in the quiet, the unseen hours, the disciplined mornings, the determined nights, where everything truly happened. So don't be discouraged if no one sees your effort yet. Don't feel the need to explain your every move. Let your silence speak of your discipline. Let your journey unfold in your own time. And when you're ready, when your work is undeniable, step into the light, not to seek approval, but to claim your space. Because the ones who work in silence, they're the ones who make the loudest impact. There's an elegance in being underestimated. When people don't see you coming, you have the freedom to move without resistance. You can make mistakes, pivot, and evolve away from the judgmental. Silence grants you room to breathe, to grow, to sharpen your edge. And when the moment comes to act, you strike with precision, not hesitation. Think of Michael Jordan during his first retirement. After achieving superstardom, he walked away from the NBA and chose to pursue baseball. A quiet decision misunderstood by many. But what people didn't see during his time away was the work, the hunger, the fire rekindling. When he returned to the NBA, he didn't come back with press tours and dramatic speeches. Just 2 words: "I'm back." That was it. No announcements, no long explanations, just presence, just action. And within a year, he was once again a champion. That's what working in silence gives you: clarity, conviction, and explosive impact when it matters. The world doesn't need more talkers. It needs more doers. People willing to let their hustle speak for itself. So how do you apply this in your own life? Start by making your vision sacred. Whatever it is, a business, a degree, a skill, a transformation, protect it. Not everyone deserves to hear your dreams in their infancy. Not everyone will support you. Some won't understand. Others will pretend to, while hoping you fail. Silence guards you from their doubt and their distraction. Set goals, but keep them private. Not out of shame, but out of focus. Tell yourself what you're going to do, then go do it. When the results show, you won't need to explain. People will ask how, not why. And when that happens, you'll know you've arrived. Next, fall in. Love with the grind. The early mornings, the lonely nights, the repetition, the self-discipline. That's where champions are made. Not in bright lights, but in silent hours. Be the one who keeps showing up when no one's clapping. That's where your edge is born. Silence also removes the need for comparison. The moment you stop broadcasting your journey, you stop inviting others into your timeline. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel. You move at your pace, on your terms, in your season. And that's the healthiest, most sustainable way to grow. Look at APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India, and one of the most beloved presidents in Indian history. His early life was marked by poverty and struggle, yet he remained deeply committed to science, education, and national service. He wasn't a man of boastful words. He didn't flood the world with promises. Instead, he worked in labs, behind walls with his team, silently advancing India's missile and space technology. By the time the world recognized his contributions, he had already transformed the nation. His humility, discipline, and quiet genius became his legacy. He proved that you don't need to announce greatness. You just need to live it. Working in silence isn't about isolation. It's about intentional solitude. It's where you tune out the noise and tune into yourself. Where you identify what truly matters. Where you remove the performance and focus on the purpose. You don't need to be the loudest in the room to lead. Often, it's the quiet ones who make the biggest moves. And remember, the world often misunderstands silence. They confuse it with weakness, disinterest, or inaction. Let them misjudge you. Let them underestimate you. Because when you rise without asking for permission. You rise without warning. You rise because you've done the work, consistently, quietly, and without distraction. Your silence is your strength. Your discipline is your secret weapon. Every day you choose to work when no one is watching, you're building something. Stronger than applause, you're building credibility. Real, earned, unshakable credibility. Not from what you said you do, but from what you actually did. And when your moment comes, when your work finally meets the world, it won't be noise. It'll be a roar. A roar born from years of focus, sacrifice, and unseen labor. That's the kind of success that lasts. That's the kind of impact that doesn't fade. The truth is, every legendary journey begins with silent steps. It's in the quiet that you plan. It's in the quiet that you prepare. And it's in the quiet that you become. The world may not see you now. That's okay. You're not here to be seen. You're here to build. And when the foundation is ready, when the time is right, when the work is undeniable, the world will have no choice but to take notice. Until then, don't announce. Don't perform. Don't explain. Just work. Let your silence be proof of your discipline. Let your outcome speak for your journey. Let your legacy be louder than any declaration you could make. Because in the end, what matters most is not how many people knew your plans, but how powerfully your actions change your life, and maybe even the world. So stay focused, stay humble, stay silent, and keep building. Your time is coming.